Muammar Gaddafi was a Libyan military officer, a revolutionary, a politician, and a political theorist who ruled Libya from 1969 until his death in 2011. Gaddafi became the ruler of Libya after the coup d'etat that removed King Idris I on September 1, 1969. And as soon as Gaddafi became the ruler of Libya, he became an advocate of Pan-Africanism, he became an advocate of the unity of Africa, that is, he was interested in the unity of Africa, calling every African country to come together so the African countries could unite. And he was even the spearheader, he spearheaded the formation of the African Union, that is, the transition of the Organization of African Unity, OAU, into what is now known as the African Union, AU. And actually, at first, Muammar Gaddafi proposed this AU, what is now known as AU, he proposed it as the United States of Africa. But anyways, some African leaders were not so in support of what he said, because they thought he was trying to put himself at the center of what is to be known as the United States of Africa. They believed he was authoritarian and he wanted to put himself as the leader of every African nation. Also, as soon as Gaddafi became the leader, the ruler of Libya, he invested so much in building of infrastructures, and in fact, Libya was one of the top African nations across that time while he was the leader of Libya. That is, everything was put in place at that time. In fact, women's rights were protected that time, and people loved him so much. They loved Muammar Gaddafi because he made Libya great. But along the line, people began to see him as an authoritarian. That is, they saw him as a dictator, that he was just trying to put himself at the center of everything and he cared less about the people. That was the assumption though. I'm not saying he did it, but that was the assumption then. And this invited people that were not Libyans to begin to poke nose into the affairs of the Libyans. And in the early 2010s, something began, which was known as the Arab Spring. It began in Tunisia, and along the line, it came into Libya, and NATO, which was led by the United States of America, also came into the thing. And then they forcefully removed this man from power, and actually he was shot dead. He was killed. Muammar Gaddafi was shot dead based on different reasons. Some people said it was authoritarian, some people said he did not want to leave the position, and a whole lot of things. But to Africans and to some people, they believe that Muammar Gaddafi can be regarded as one of the greatest and one of the best Pan-African leaders in Africa, who gave more attention to his people. That is, he shunned Western domination and Western interference. I'm talking about the likes of the USA, France, Britain, and so on and so forth. So finally, this man, Muammar Gaddafi, he died on September 20, 2011, after he was removed from office, after he was shot dead by the rebel forces.